Well, welcome in, everybody. It's the Four Bros Radio Show. Only three bros with you here tonight, but that's okay. We'll make it work anyway with the three of us. Won't be a problem at all. Let's see what we can get talking about tonight, but let's see who's here with us first. And here with us first, Crispy Bacon up there in the corner. How you doing tonight, brother?
Not too bad. Hope everyone's having a great evening.
All right, and then of course we have Double Dirty Big B. How you doing tonight?
Doing good. Just got off of work, starting my weekend off right. So get to talk to a couple of the bros. So let's see what we got going on.
All right, yeah, some interesting stuff going on now. Big B, do you remember what I asked you to ask me about today?
Yeah, pie.
Pie. Yeah. So I was watching TikTok the other night. Yes, I'll admit that I was watching TikTok, okay?
Oh, I watch it here and there too.
I do too.
So I'm watching TikTok the other day, and this guy comes on and he says you need to watch if you're a guy that is married or in a committed relationship, you need to watch this next video.
Okay.
So we're watching it. I'm watching it. And his wife asked him a question. Pie, Jesus, Tim Hendricks. Okay. Sorry. Anyway, so she asks him a question and says, if you went to work and one of your female coworkers baked you a pie, would you accept it and eat it? And his answer was, hell yeah, I'd eat it.
Why
pie.
wouldn't you? Yeah.
Right? And then she's like, see, that's why you're a man, and that's why men are pigs, and that's why you don't understand what the problem is. And yeah, you have that confused look on your face like I had on mine. I was like, wait, what's going on?
Yeah.
So I got it explained to me by Jennifer that a woman's thinking in that situation is that if a female coworker baked you a pie, she took her time, her money, and her effort to bake you specifically a pie, which means that she's trying to steal you away from the person you're with the pie.
No, okay.
And my answer, I was just saying, my answer to that was, okay, well, I'm going to bring this up on the show because I guarantee every guy probably has the same thought that I do right now, which is, you gave me a pie and I took a pie and ate it, and thanks for the pie. Like, there's no thoughts in my mind of, I'm leaving her for you because you can bake a pie. Like, that's not even a thought in my mind. If someone brings me a pie, I'm going to eat the damn thing.
Yeah. No. Here's the argument I'm thinking. And if it's my birthday or something, or and she bakes me a pie. Okay, you baked me a pie for my birthday. Hey, thank you. Now, if it's once a week or twice a week, or okay, maybe there's something going on that needs to be addressed. But I mean, yeah, I'm not gonna leave anybody just because they can make me a pie. I mean, if that's the case, then I'd be single and jumping around all the time. So, but
yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, I get it because women think differently than we do, but a pie, really? And the guy, the funny thing about the guy is he's like, wait, hold up. So you mean this is a real thing? Like, there's actually women that are trying to steal guys away by uh, baking them pies? Like, that actually happens?
But
So,
what
like,
if
he
it's
was
the
in.
roles are reversed? I mean, a guy can make a lady a pie, or bring her in a sandwich, or even buy her McDonald's on the way into work.
But that's
I,
completely different.
Right.
You know.
how?
No, you know. You know. You know.
Well, no, I
Literally.
know the answer is going to be it's completely different. I get what you're saying, and I wish Christy or Joanne or somebody was on so we could have them on quick to justify it. But no, you're exactly right, J Mac and Chris. You'll learn that when a woman speaks, and like this whole pie incident, or even if the person brought in a cup of coffee or whatever, the woman's perspective is going to be totally different than, oh well, a coworker of mine brought me in a cup of coffee. That was a guy. Nothing's going on. He's just being nice, But the lady has to be trying to take, steal you or something.
Yeah. Yeah, and then the other one that got brought up. This led to another side conversation with Jennifer. She's like, by the way, you know that when women have like girls' nights, okay, um, they're having a good time and they're not thinking about guys and they're not. But we know that
Well,
when guys go out together, they're getting like hookers and prostitutes, and that's all they're thinking about is women. And I'm like, hold up. I'm gonna stop you right there. She's like, why is that? And I'm like, well, because I already have to pay enough for it by taking you to dinner, dancing, movies, all of that to get it. Why am I gonna go buy it somewhere else? First off, that's my first point. My second
yeah.
point is if I am hanging out, say, with all the guys from the show together, I guarantee you the last thing we are thinking about is a woman. No, what we're doing is we're doing stuff like, I bet I can jump off the house into the pool and not break my leg.
Right.
Oh, we're
Hey, why
bad
don't
mouthing the ones we got. I mean,
right. Or why don't you light that ring on fire and I bet I can jump through it without burning myself. Like,
yeah,
that's the kind of
yeah,
stuff we're doing. We're not, believe me, we are not worried about some other woman. Okay? Guaranteed.
yeah, yeah. And
But
heaven
it's
forbid that if you're out with the guys and another woman shows up that's a friend of somebody's, I mean, heaven forbid that comes out,
Right.
yeah, I know. But you know what? You know what the big wait, you guys get hookers? See, Tim is even with us. He's like, wait a minute, I missed something here.
You're like, wait, what?
Oh, honestly, for the couple years I've known Tim, I mean, I guarantee he could hop on and tell some good guy stories and stuff. But yeah, I don't recall us ever. I mean, yeah, okay, we went to a club here and there, and ended up hooking up with a couple girls. But yeah, it was typically four of us that would be out and about, and things happen. But
Well, so if you are single and you're watching, guys out there, remember to play the numbers game. If there's four of you, there has to be four women that you're talking to. And let me explain how that works. Chris, remember this.
Okay.
You cannot be outnumbered by the women, because if you are, now two of them are giving their friends signals to stop talking to you. You have to have the same number of guys to the number of women that are there, because if not, you can stand no chance. No chance. So just remember that. And Chris, the other piece of advice I'd give you, Dragon Viper's not here for me to pick on him for this, but to be able to meet a woman and get with a woman, you actually have to be able to talk to her. So remember that. The first thing you have to do is be able to open your mouth and speak. That's what makes us human beings, is our ability to talk. And don't say something stupid. Don't. Yes,
Right.
The lottery is cheaper. I agree, Tim. The lottery is cheaper.
Yeah.
So Don't say something stupid, guys. Like if you're listening and you believe in pickup lines, don't go up there being like, you know, if I was in control of the alphabet, I'd put you and I closer together. Like that's just dumb. They don't want to hear that. Okay.
Or can I get your phone number because I forgot mine?
Yeah, don't say something clever. Say something. I heard a clever
Right.
one the other day, and this one might actually work. So I'm going to give you guys this one that are watching, and Chris, I'm going to give you this one. This might actually work because it's actually somewhat clever, and it doesn't. You're not having a preconceived notion on what's going to happen. So you walk up to them and you simply ask. You say, "Hey, my name is Chris, and your name is," and then they say their name, and you say, "I just have a question. I'm surveying random people because I really want to know the answer to this question." And they give you that weird look at first, and you're like, "How much does a polar bear weigh?" And that's it. You leave it right there and make them think for a second. And when they're like, "I don't know," you're like, "It's enough to break the ice. How are you?"
That's a good one.
That is good.
See, I'm saying that one actually is a little clever, where you're not
Yeah.
saying like, "I want to just,
That
go
was
home
a
with
good
you."
one. That was a good one.
Yeah.
Another one that I heard a Dragon Viper use once that I don't suggest ever losing. Don't be afraid to be a team player. That's true, Team Hendricks. Don't be afraid to be a wingman
Yep.
once in a while. Don't always be the
Right.
star. But
Oh,
another
yeah,
one I
we-
heard Dragon
yeah.
Viper use once, and I swear Dragon Vipers use this one. I swear on my life he has. Okay. Do not walk up to them with a napkin and ask them if it smells like chloroform. Okay.
No, he did not.
Wow.
Oh.
They don't find that funny, by the way. I have to tell you.
No.
They don't find that funny. Yeah. Couple more. It's like we're just talking tonight. So
Oh, yeah.
a couple more things I've experienced. So I was a single guy playing in softball tournaments. I don't even know how many years ago, a few years ago. And when I say a few, it could have been 10 or 15. I don't even know. Anyway, so as you know, when you play softball or baseball, you have base coaches on first and third usually, right?
Yep.
So our rule was if you're near the bottom or if you hit the last inning and you're one of the last people coming up, you coach the base. You know how that works, Big B.
Yep.
Anyway, so I'm out there coaching first base. And now these people that we're playing with, I don't really know. I know a few of them, but I don't know all of them because we're kind of a mixed team from different cities and that. Okay.
Yeah.
So this this girl comes up to bat because we're playing on a co-ed team. And I'll admit, she was attractive. Okay. I mean, we're talking a 6 or 7. I mean, that's pretty good, right? Okay, so she's attractive. So she hits the ball. She runs to first base, gets to first base. In between batters, she turns to me and she's like, "So are you here to help me run?" And I'm like, "Well, yes, I am. I'll make sure you don't get thrown out." And she's like, "Oh, well, that's good because I'm really, really good at making really bad decisions." And I'm like, "Well," and so okay, and this is where the guy part played into me, and thinking we're just here to play softball. So I'm like, "Well, that's all right. I won't get you thrown out. I won't send you if I don't think you can make it to second." And my buddy in the dugout is like, "Oh my god." I go in the dugout and I'm like, "Dude, what were you so upset about?" And he pulls me aside and he doesn't say anything other than, "I'm really, really good at making really bad decisions." And I look at him and I'm like, "Oh my god, I'm an idiot." Yeah. And those things happen. So
Oh, yeah.
You know, there was another time I was out with Dragon Viper once, and I was in a committed relationship at this point, and so that actually works to your advantage to have a wingman that is. Would you agree, Big B?
It could, yeah.
Because, you know, he's not trying to get any. He's just trying to help you play the numbers game. So, anyway, we are out, and I am in a committed relationship at that point, and he said, "Well, I want to go over and get that girl's number, but I don't think I can." I don't think she'll give it to me. And we're talking a table of 5 girls. So again, like I said, you got to play the numbers game. You got to have 5 guys, right? I'm like, well, I bet I could get her number. I bet I could get someone's number at that table, and I don't even have to try. And he's like, no, don't. You prove me wrong every time. And I'm like, I'll tell you what. If I go over there and they shoot me down and go, don't give me a number, I'll give you $20 and I'll buy your next drink. He's like, okay, man, okay, you're on. So I walk over to the table. Again, 5 women. Let's walk over to the table, and I'm like, I just want you to know I have no interest in any of you because I'm in a committed relationship. But I'm trying to win a bet with my buddy over there. So if one of you can just write 7 numbers randomly down on a piece of paper, put a name on it, and hand it to me, then I win a bet. And I got a fake number and a fake name, but he doesn't know that. He does now. But I won a bet that night. So, again, just the funny things that can happen when you're a single guy hanging out with your friends.
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Chris, give us some stories or something, man. Give us something.
I don't really have much. So.
I don't even care if it's internet dating and some girl like totally catfished you, because that's happened. That's happened. That's totally happened.
Yeah, no, that part has happened. Yeah, I was talking.
Yeah.
So
she tells you she's like, a triathlete or something, and then you look on her Facebook page, and she's like an M&M away from Rosie O'Donnell or something. Been there.
Oh
yeah.
All right, Chris, why don't you roll that beautiful bean footage for me?
All right.
Suzanne's Paparazzi Jewelry, 24/7 shopping available. 160920 is the code. Show her some love, like she showed us. All right, there's the ads. Make sure you go and check them out because that helps us pay the bills and keep bringing great content to you. One more thing I want to touch on real quick is teachers are what makes our country go round. Let's not forget that. They're one of the most vital things in this country that we have. So please, if you can help
depend on who
out,
you talk to. We got into a big debate on this, but
yeah, that's true. But I will say, for me, it's I'll die on this hill. I will die on this hill.
Yep.
Standing up for teachers. So,
I'll stand up for them too.
For me, they have to supply their own classrooms with all their stuff. By the way, they get $250 a year. If anyone's curious what they get to write off that they buy for the classrooms, it's $250. Or if they spend 10% of their salary, they get to write that off. So if they made $40,000 a year, they would have to spend $4,000 a year to get to write anything off over $250.
Really? Wow, that sucks.
Yeah. So with that, what I'm saying is go to Teachers Wish List on TikTok. I would personally ask you to go to list number 5082. That's one that's near and dear to the show. But go to any teacher's wish list, your favorite teacher, whatever, you can find them on there. Just help them out. And they are not asking for the world. They're not asking for the moon and stars. They're not asking for all that. They're asking you to please help them out by sending them $10 so they can buy pens and pencils for their classroom for the year. An Amazon gift card so they're able to do that. Something like that. So help out a teacher. So I did want to get your opinion, Big B, because we made our deal where I won't draft 84 running backs. Or no, not 85 running backs. I'll just draft 84. So wanted to ask you if you had, I'm sure you do, and I don't want you to give any of your secrets away because I don't want to steal any of your players. But have you been thinking at all about the fantasy draft, and maybe you got a couple players in mind?
Yeah, I mean, there's, the way I do things is, I kind of come up with my own draft board and, kind of, I mean, we all probably have the same, top 10 quarterbacks, running backs, receivers, stuff like that. But, I mean, you definitely got to dig, especially if you're in a league like ours where, last year we had what, 16 teams, 17 teams, something like that, 18. I mean, so you got to really dig. I mean, but for leagues like ours, it's kind of hard to gauge, what people are going to do, because we redraft every year. Now, if we were in a dynasty league, okay, Aaron Rodgers is going to stay around, stuff like that. So you can kind of game plan a little bit more. But some things I like to do depend on where I'm drafting at. If I'm in the middle rounds, probably hit up a couple, decent running backs, like, you do, J-Mac. If it's a snake draft and I'm towards the end, then I might target a nice quarterback receiver combo. And then later rounds, I kind of save my defensive kickers for later rounds, going by their bye weeks and stuff, so I don't bother with them. And then last but not least, if I think I got a decent team, then I might waste a draft pick on, some, fourth string receiver that might get me something if somebody goes down, depending on their team and stuff. But, first pick, I mean, it's kind of hard to gauge because, do you go for that stud running back that, right now is McCaffrey or something that is injury prone, or do you go with a solid quarterback, Rodgers, Mahomes, or somebody like that? So I kind of hope I never get the first overall picks in some leagues. I'd rather be towards the end in most of my leagues.
I always hope for the middle. So I always hope that I draft, if it's 16 teams, I hope that I draft 8th or 9th, because then I'm always in the same position pretty much every single round. I hate either drafting first or last, because then you get 2 picks right in a row, but then you don't pick again for like 20 players or 30 players.
Yeah, but then you can, I mean, I get what you're saying. The middle of the draft is probably perfect, but, if you're that one guy that, plans everything out, you can kind of sit there and, you can map out your first, 20 picks and then go from there, because you're going to hit on a couple of them, and then you can sit back and kind of, keep mapping out your picks here and there, and of course we're all going to get sniped. I mean, me and Chris and a couple other guys just did a fantasy wrestling draft, and I was getting sniped all day long. I felt like they're like looking over my shoulder at my cheat sheet, but fantasy draft is, I think for me, fantasy football has got me more into being a football fan than I was when I was younger.
Yeah, for me too. What I'll say is it got me being more of a football fan versus just being a Packer fan.
Yeah.
So I'm still a Packer fan through and through.
Oh, yeah.
But it got me to want to watch other games also.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you want to root for that player.
Yeah, exactly. And when I first started, I would not draft anybody that played against the Vikings, and then somebody's like, well, that's stupid because you're going to pass up on the guy just because he plays the Vikings once. Well, okay, that does kind of make sense a little bit, I mean, so.
Well, and sometimes you have those matchups where your team is going against the other team, and you got two players, one on each team.
Oh yeah. Yeah, especially if it's your favorite team, and then you got a guy going against them. So now you're rooting for the guy to do good, but yet you're rooting for your team to win.
Right.
So
you always, yeah. As long as you don't have either of the defenses, you always just hope for a shootout.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. So, question: being in your profession, Big B, I'm sure that you've dealt with your share of, let's say, intellectually challenged people.
Okay.
So what's the best euphemism you've ever heard for an intellectually challenged person? Because I have a list of about 20 that are pretty great.
Honestly, I mean, the one that sticks out most, and maybe it's not where you're going at, is this guy came in to get a card, hasn't played for a while, and he's like, I want you to add money to my card. I'm like, well, I can't do that, just out of the blue. And I mean, literally, I could, but I'm not going to. But he goes, "Well, you want to keep me around, right? You want me to repeat business?" I'm like, "Well, yeah, I hope for your repeat business." Well, then go ahead and add money on my card because that's the only way I'm going to stay. I'm like, "There's no chance, there's no chance I'm just going to have free money on your card because you asked for it." I mean, but most of the time, guests are just upset because they're losing money. I mean, there's no reason around them. They read, just like most of us, a lot of offers. They'll interpret it the way they want to, and if you don't give them what they want, then they get upset. And then you got some guests that you point out what the actual offer is, and then they're upset at themselves because they didn't read it right. So they drove all this way for nothing, So,
Yeah. Well, I got two for you that just happened today, by the way.
Okay.
And then I'll tell you the best ways to describe a intellectually challenged person.
Okay.
So two that just happened today. One guy comes in and screams at me because our batteries for cars, by the way, our batteries are wrong. They're the wrong size, the wrong shape.
Okay.
And I said, all right. So he explained that the battery he brought in, that he took out of his car, and the one he put back in, there's about a 3-inch gap behind the battery he just replaced it with the old one. Okay, following me so far?
Yep.
So I go back and we have a book. We have a book that we look him all up in, and I ask him what his car is, and I show him the book and I show him what number the battery is.
Yep.
So he takes one look at the book and goes, "I know that's what the book says, but I wanted more cold cranking amps, so I bought a different size battery."
Well, that's on him.
Okay.
I'm like, "So you just yelled at me and my batteries are wrong, but you bought the wrong battery? How the hell is that my fault?"
That doesn't make sense.
Yep.
Yeah. The other better one. Follow me on this one. This guy says,
The other better one.
better one.
Hopefully it's not a teacher watching.
Yeah. So he said, "I bought a Food Saver." Everyone knows what a Food Saver is, right?
Yep.
The seal a meal things. Okay.
Yep.
"I bought a Food Saver and it doesn't work. Can I bring it back?" And I said, "Well, of course, with a receipt, I'll take almost anything back if it's within a certain amount of days and all that,
Yep.
all that stuff." So he brings me a receipt from Walmart. Now, mind you, I don't work at Walmart. I just want to point that out as I tell this story. I don't work for Walmart. So he brings back the unit and the receipt from Walmart into my store.
Yep.
Sets it on the counter and says, "I'd like my replacement. I want to go exchange it." And he said, "The problem is I don't sell that particular model."
Yep.
And he says, "Yes, you do. I just bought it." "But you didn't, because this is a Walmart receipt." And he's like,
Yep.
I know. I just bought it and I want to bring it back." "Okay, but you're not at Walmart. This is a Walmart receipt and a Walmart Food Saver." And he looks at me and he's like, "Yeah, but it's under warranty and I want to bring it back." He was not getting it.
Yeah, he was at the wrong store.
So finally, after all of this, and this is like a 10-minute conversation of telling him the same thing over and over again. Finally, 10 minutes later, I pull my vest like this, and I'm like, "You're not at Walmart. That's a Walmart product." And he's like, oh, my bad. Sorry. And just took his stuff and left.
Yeah. I
don't get it. It makes me want to ask him, "Did you drive yourself here?"
Yeah. Well, along the lines of that, for people that don't know, I work in the casino world. And a couple years ago, around New Year's Eve, we start, a lot of casinos are throwing big parties, throwing money out there, offers. And this one guest comes up, and we're in a snowstorm that nobody should be out driving, whatever. And they come in and they're like, "We're missing $10 of our free money." I'm like, "Okay, well, let me look. Well, I got that. And I'm like, "Well, I don't see where, everything's adding up with all your offers." "Well, we have an offer upstairs that said $10. I was like, "Well, if you have it upstairs, bring it down at your early convenience." And we'll do what we can to honor it if it's right. And they go upstairs, come back, and the person's like, well, I want to be compensated for you guys not having this on there. I was like, well, I'll see what I can do. And it was for another casino. And I'm like, well, I can't honor this because it's another casino. What do you mean you can't honor it? I'm like, it's not our casino. So I got to drive there for my $10? I'm like, well, yeah, we can't honor here. Well, I guess we'll just check out of our hotel and we'll just drive up there for $10. Now, mind you, the offers that brought them into our casino was close to $500 to $600 between her and her counterpart. So in the back of my mind, I'm like, so you're going to leave in a snowstorm, check out of your room, drive, about an hour away to the casino that you got $10 offer on, and you're going to leave $500 to $600 on the table for $10. I was like, all right, whatever, but yeah.
So, well, yeah, that's a good one. So with that said, this is how I would describe those people. Not the brightest crayon in the box.
Yep.
A few fries short of a Happy Meal.
Yep.
Not the sharpest knife in the drawer.
Yep.
The lights on, but nobody's home.
Yep.
Let's see. Not the funniest clown in the circus.
Yep.
The elevator doesn't go all the way to the top floor.
Yep.
Yeah.
Not the fastest horse in the race.
Yep.
Not the brightest star in the sky.
Yep.
The wheels turning, but the hamster's dead. That's still my favorite, I think, of all of them.
That is honestly one of the best ones.
A couple Fruit Loops short of a bowl.
Yep.
They're like a pair of children's scissors, bright and colorful, but not too sharp.
Yep.
Let's see, a couple more. Doesn't have both oars in the water. That's a good one.
Yep.
And one more. If you gave them a penny for their thoughts, they'd give you a change back.
Yeah.
So,
So, Jim, I got a question for you because I know you're in the customer service business, been there for a while, if not your whole working career.
pretty close, but yeah, go ahead.
No, granted, as supervisors, we definitely want to tell some people off, but we know we can't. But what would you do? I mean, what would you expect your staff to do if they heard you tell a guest, well, if you don't like it here, go, elsewhere and shop before you come here or whatever. I mean, what would you expect your staff to do if they actually heard you tell a customer off hard?
It's tough because we have certain situations in which I'm actually allowed to ask someone to shop somewhere else. But if I just did it, so I'll tell you a little story. This guy called me up to the registers once, and this is probably exactly the answer you're looking for. This guy called me up once and said that we'd already charged his card, even though the register says you still owe money.
Okay.
So I explained to him that you're going to have to put your card in again, and I'm going to have to finish the transaction. He tells me I'm wrong, and I tell him, well, you're not leaving and with the stuff until you pay for it. So we go around about this for 5 minutes. He ends up telling me I'm stupid and I'm wrong by the end. And then calls my store, basically everything he could, calls me a bunch of names, and then asks if he could have my corporate information so that he could turn me in for my smart ass attitude to turn me into my corporate manager. So I gave him the little information card you can fill out, and he said, what's your name? And I said, my name is Jason. And then I spelled out my name, and I spelled the last name, and I said, please do not spell it wrong when you call the office. Now, not the wisest thing I've ever said in my customer service career, obviously.
Yeah.
But my staff, as I turned around and looked, their jaws were on the floor. They could not believe I just said that to a customer. So, I guess that's your answer. That's what they would be shocked if I actually said that to a customer. Yeah.
But okay, but I mean, like, we've had our guest, and they come up, and I hear a lot of complaints about other supervisors. I'm like, well, I can't speak for them, but if what was said was true, then I mean, literally, I would expect my teammates to go to our supervisor and turn myself in, and there should be a discussion about it. So and that's what I
No,
was kind of getting.
No, I agree. I agree.
Yeah. Yeah, because we're not above anybody else. I mean, to tell somebody to go eat somewhere or shop somewhere or, go somewhere else, I mean, one, yeah, the person probably should. I mean, I ain't going to say everybody's innocent, but you're also in the customer service business that you're trying to drive up revenue. And, the smartest thing is not to tell somebody to go somewhere else. I mean, trust me, we've all wanted to,
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree with you 100%.
Yeah.
But I will tell you that it's gotten really hard in my profession lately because I don't know about where you are, but where I'm at, people are now blatantly walking into my store, putting whatever they want into a bag and walking straight out without any intention of paying for anything. And what I can do about that in the state I live in is nothing. I can say, hey, I saw you take that. Can you please pay for that? And they keep walking, and there's nothing I can do.
Yep. Nope. I dealt with that at grocery stores and Walmarts that I've worked at too, and there's nothing you can do. You can't confront them. You can't touch them. I mean, you got to hope that there's an officer nearby because they're the only ones that can do anything. And what's the chances of an officer being at your store at the time somebody's stealing something? I mean,
right.
But yeah. And the thing is, I mean, and you can, I mean, even, Good Samaritans, far between because typically if they saw somebody stealing, they would stop them, which ain't right, but still trying to do a good deed. And, everybody's just, I hate to say they're afraid of everybody, but I mean, nobody has respect anymore, in general,
Well, you're too afraid of getting a lawsuit. You're too afraid of someone suing you. I was stealing from the store, but he assaulted me on my way out.
Yep.
And unfortunately, you have lawyers, which, you know what? I know that some lawyers do good work, but it's just like the police department. There are bad lawyers also, just like there are bad cops. And the bad lawyers are the ones that take those lawsuits and then win in court. And for me, like as a judge, I know you're supposed to look objectively, but if I was a judge, I'd be like, but you were stealing. You deserve to get your face pounded
I was going
into
up
the
to
floor.
my car because I forgot to got my wallet in the car. That's where I was heading to, and I didn't want to put my food down.
Yeah. I know.
Yeah.
But, all right, enough said about that. All right, let's go. Chris, give us 30 seconds, man.
Thanks everyone for watching, tuning in. Great shows on the network. Tomorrow's Tuesday Night Mania and On Deck, so make sure to tune in for that.
All right, and before Big B goes, I just want to say our website's changing. We are going to have all of the shows listed on there. We're going to have links to all the shows. It's going to be updated and be good, I believe, by September-ish. Let's give it a good month to get everything rolling on there. You can watch us on Amazon if you have the Fire Stick Ulp, so don't forget about that. So we'll have the link for that on there. I believe we're in development to get an app on your phone that you can watch. And if that happens, that link will be on there also. Look for some more sports coming up. I can't make any announcements until the deals are done, but there's a big meeting about that this week with the same owner of the Oregon football team, owns some other teams, and he wants us to do some work for him. So we'll have some other live sports for you as soon as that all gets figured out. So Big B, give us 30 seconds.
No, yeah, everything, like J-Mac said, just keep checking us out coast to coast. Morning tailgate penciled in if you want some early football predictions. August 14th, I believe, is a Sunday. That's when we're going to do that. Like J-Mac said, other shows are being talked about. We're talking about doing a fantasy football show around the time baseball starts to end. And so just keep checking us out. Great content coming.
Absolutely. I mean, you got to grow and just remember, we brought this up from zero. Like we had nothing when we started, and so it's all on you guys. And we thank all of you that watch because you're the reason that we do this content. You allow us to do this. So lifelong dreams being lived in front of your very eyes, and I couldn't do it without these two great guys that are on with me tonight, along with Sarge and Mess Around. And
we
I
can do it
thank all
without you either.
thank them all so much for doing this. And don't forget, I have a tentative date for Four Bros coming back on a Friday. That would be the final Friday in August. I believe that is I want to say it's the 26th. Don't quote me on that, but Friday. Friday the 26th tentatively, as long as everything works out for that. We're trying to make you blush, Tim.
Oh, I got a good story that made Tim blush back in our younger days. So,
all right. Well, we'll look forward to that story.
Oh yeah. We'll definitely have to talk about that story. Yeah.
All right. Maybe we'll get Tim on here and he can be on here when you tell the story. We'll see if he blushes again.
Oh, he probably will.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks guys for watching so much. We appreciate every single one of you. And until next time, we'll see you all on the other side.